All right, let's bring in former Deputy White House Chief of Staff to George W. Bush, Karl Rove. Karl, thanks so much for taking time for us on New Year's Eve. We appreciate it. So Hillary Clinton there, right, making this argument that her party should really put politics ahead of policy come the new year. She essentially said there, you know, all the best policy ideas in the world don't mean a thing if you have no platform. She's right, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I think she was also saying, let's not get out there on the far left of American politics with a bunch of goofy ideas being pushed by progressives that you can sell in a deep blue district, but are death in swing districts, in purple states and purple districts. And I think she's absolutely right on that as well. In fact, it's actually a warning to both parties. If you get too far out on the fringes, you begin to lose in places that you need in order to get into the majority, which are more districts more carefully balanced between Republican and Democrat and more towards the center of the American political spectrum.
Karl, have you ever agreed with Hillary Clinton before in your life? Before right now?
Once or twice, but once or twice, I'm sure. But it did feel very strange. I'm ending the year in a very odd place. I agree with Hillary Clinton. I mean, put yourself in my situation.
You know, Karl, you are predicting a blowout for Republicans in the midterm. You wrote something very interesting in the Wall Street Journal, if we can put that up on the screen. You wrote, I got a lot right in 2021, but I overestimated Biden. As for 2022, the GOP will retake Congress and COVID will fade in political significance. Okay, so do you have your whiteboard? Do you have numbers for us? What are you talking about?
Well, first of all, I didn't say a blowout. In fact, I went the opposite direction. The average gain of the party out of power in midterm elections in the House since World War II has been about 30 seats. I think the Republicans are going to end up winning fewer than 30 seats. But in part, that's because they did something extraordinary in 2020, and that is they gained 13 seats in the House at the same time that they were losing the presidency. So there's only a 5-seat Democrat margin. That's if there are 2 vacancies today, so the margin today is 3, but the 2 seats that are unfilled are heavily Democratic. But the Republicans are going to gain less than 30 seats, but that's still going to put them in with a comfortable majority because they're so close. Now, the Senate's a more iffy deal. I think the Republicans are going to take the Senate, but it is not going to be easy, and it's going to be by 1 or 2 seats, and it's going to require Republicans to run good campaigns in 4 states that they got to defend, Florida with Marco Rubio, open seats in Pennsylvania and North Carolina, and then Wisconsin, where Senator Johnson, is yet to formally declare for re-election. At the same time, they've got to have good challengers in seats in Georgia and Nevada, where they have candidates out in the field who are garnering support. Herschel Walker in Georgia and Adam Laxalt in Nevada, but Arizona and New Hampshire, where the situation is not as clear. So I think at the end of the day, the Republicans have their act together, and they have some oomph behind them because of people's feelings about the Biden administration, the need to check and balance the excesses of the Democratic Party. But the Senate is going to be a very close thing.
Well, and real quick, what about Joe Manchin? Does he stay a Democrat?
I think he does. If he doesn't, I should say this. I don't think he becomes a Republican. If he could become an independent and caucus with the Democrats, but I don't think, given his family history, his father and his grandfather were both bigwigs in the Democratic Party in West Virginia. I don't think he switches parties. I do think the Democrats gain some gubernatorial seats, but they lose ground in the state legislative races at the bottom of the barrel, or excuse me, at the bottom of the pyramid. They're not doing too well.
Well, Karl, we gotta leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. Happy New Year. Hope the existential mood sort of wears off for you and all of us.
There we go. Weird. I agree with Hillary Clinton. Weird. Very strange.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.